everyone, thank you for joining me in our fourth video of this basic Excel course playlist. In this video, I'd like to introduce you to a couple of simple functions in Excel. So here we have some sample data, and before I start showing you functions, I'd like to show you how to freeze panes so that when you scroll down, you can still see the header row. So if you select the row underneath the row you would like to freeze, like that, and then you go on View, you go to your Window Tools, you'll see this option to freeze pane. So you click down and you click on Freeze Pane, and it will freeze the row at the top. So now, when you scroll down, you can still see the top row with your headers. So the first thing I want to show you is your sum function. I would have introduced this to you in my previous video, and I'm going to show you that again here. So let's say we want to find out the total salaries paid to everybody in the company. If I go to the bottom of annual salary, I can type in equal sum, open bracket, and then I could select the entire range of cells for annual salary. So my total salary paid was $21,650,428, right? Now I can also get the average salary paid to persons. So instead of typing sum, I can go in here and edit this, say average, enter. So the average salary a person got was $116,212. So I can find the average, I can find the sum. If I want to find the minimum salary paid to someone, I go here and instead of average, I type MIN. So the minimum salary paid was $40,752. And if I want to find the maximum salary paid to someone, I can go here and I can change this to MX, enter, and the max salary paid was $256,420. So lastly, if I want to know how many persons there are, how many persons salaries were paid to, I can come in here and I can change max to say count. If I use count, it'll tell me 186%. The next thing I want to show you is how to use your auto sum function. So if you remember, I had to type in equal sum, open bracket, and then select all the information, and then close bracket to get the sum. However, to use your auto sum function, you can go to your home menu and you click on this sum symbol here. And once you click on this symbol, so let's delete the 21 million. And once you click on this, it'll automatically pull from the top of your table all the way down. If you have any gaps, it will only pull up to the gap. So right now, there are no gaps in my data. So you notice that it pulls to get the full 21. But if I had a gap and I sum, it will only pull up to the gap. So that's something to be aware of when you're using your auto sum function. Another thing to note is that there's a drop-down menu at the side of this sum symbol. So if you click down, you would see average. So you can pull the average, or you can select how many, 6. You can also do the highest value, which is max, and the lowest, which is min. So when I'm using my sum function, and I would like to select a range of cells, I can either select all of the cells by using the auto sum function, or I can select a few cells. Additionally, I can select multiple ranges of cells or individual cells or a combination of both by simply using a comma. So I would have selected this range of cells, and then I use a comma, and I can select another range of cells. And if I type another comma, I can select individual cells as well with commas in between. So by using commas and our sum function, we can actually sum various cells that are far apart. So now when I close brackets and I press enter, if I go into edit mode by either double clicking or pressing on F2, you'll notice that my sum is only picking up the items that are highlighted. Now this method of cell selection works for any of your formulas in Excel. So the final thing I want to show you about these types of functions, for example, the sum function, is when I'm selecting cells, how to edit what I've selected. So if I go equal sum open bracket, so if I select some cells like that, and you'll notice that these cells are lit up. So this means that I've selected these cells, but I can change my selection. So I can select somewhere else instead. So only when I press comma can I select a different range or add to the range of cells. So if I press comma, and let's say I want to add this 100,000, and then I want to add these couple of range of cells, I press comma in between and I'm able to select different sets of cells. So now when I close brackets or when I press enter and I go back onto my formula and I go into edit mode, again, to go into edit mode, I can press F2 on my keyboard. I can come up to the formula bar and click, or I can double click in my formula itself. So if I come up to the formula bar and click, it goes into edit mode. And then you'll notice the cells that are picked up in my formula are the ones that I would have selected by putting a comma in between the range of cells. If I would like to edit this, I can now either edit it from inside my formula bar, or I can simply put my mouse on the border of my selection. And when you see this double arrow, you can drag to increase the range or decrease the range. Or when you move and you see this kind of cardinal points arrow, you could move the entire range up or down. And you'll notice that as I move this range, the corresponding color is also moving. So if I move it, you'll notice that the blue references change. If I increase it, the sum formula is updating as I move the highlighted area. Another thing to note is that if I have an individual cell, which is this red cell here, this red reference, if I hold it and I expand it, it'll automatically turn into a range. And that's how you can change and edit the formula and the range of cells that you have selected. Now this works for your sum function and most other functions where a range of cells is used in Excel. So the last thing I want to show you is that when you're using functions in Excel, you are not just limited to one column and putting the information in one column. You can actually select a range of cells across columns and even across sheets. So for example, if we come to this here, I can say equal sum, and I'm just using sum as an example of a formula or of a function, but it works across several functions in Excel. So if I use sum, I can select any range of cells or any number of cells anywhere on my sheet, or I can even select it in another tab. Close brackets, enter, and you'll notice my formula will show me the cells I've selected in this tab, and also it will direct me to sheet 1, and these cells here have also been selected. But because sheet 1 is outside of this sheet, it won't be able to highlight it and show me those cells. I press enter and you'll see the total. So that's a brief introduction to functions in Excel. I didn't want to put too much in this video because I know I introduced a whole lot of new concepts to you, and I want you to really take this week to try to solidify your understanding and practice using your functions in Excel. Next week, we're going to look at formatting spreadsheets as well as inserting and removing cells. and moving information around. So thank you for joining me in this video, and I hope to see you again next week. Thanks. Bye.